Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Dr. Fatih Demiröz. I'm the Director of the Master of Public Administration program at San Francisco State University. And in this informal event, we will just introduce ourselves, go over some of the basics about our program. And if you have any questions at the end of this presentation, we will try to answer your questions about the program and other things as well. Tonight, Dr. Robin Biddick is going to deliver the presentation. And if you have any questions, please keep your questions until the end of the program, unless they're very urgent and important. Then you can raise your hand and Dr. Biddick will let you ask your question. Otherwise, if they're not really all that important, you can just wait until the presentation is over and you can ask them and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Dr. Biddick, the floor is yours. And I will mute myself because I'm participating in this meeting from home and kids are screaming. So I will ask everybody to do the same.
Thanks, Fatih. I want to welcome everybody to this short presentation on our MPA program. And my name is Robin Marshall Biddick. I'm one of the professors here along with Dr. Demiröz, Dr. Wang, Dr. Haas. And we're just very glad that you were able to join us today. So when we cover, now let me see if I can get this to work here. There we go. What we're going to do is do a faculty introduction first, and then cover why you should, or why you earn your graduate degree, why you earn your MPA here at Sam Houston State University with an overview and the curriculum and looking at MPA students and alumni. And then also common applicant questions. Some of these are questions you might have. And feel free to ask any questions we don't cover. So we're going to look at what to expect at graduate school, some nuts and bolts, and how to be successful at graduate school. And then we'll have a question and answer session. And my fellow faculty here, if you see somebody raising their hand and I miss it, please let me know. Okay, our faculty here is very distinguished. Dr. Demiröz, and you've just heard him, he's done an introduction here, has his PhD from the University of Central Florida, and he focuses on public management, HR, governance, and complex systems. Dr. Thomas Haas, our former program director, has his PhD from the University of Pittsburgh and looks at disaster management, community resilience, and program evaluation. Yours truly, I'm from Claremont Graduate University, and I focus on public administration theory, organization theory, and ethics. Dr. Sungdae Lim, and he's here joining us as well, is from Florida State University, focusing on leadership, nonprofit management, and quantitative and qualitative methods. And last but not least is Dr. Wenjin Wang. Did I say that right, Wenjin? Very good. And she's from the University of Pittsburgh and focuses on decision-making, emergency management, and organization theory. So what you'll see here is we have experience with government, private, and nonprofit experience. We have both international community engagement and a diverse cultural and linguistic background. 15 peer-reviewed publications since 2019, and I expect that's probably gone up since then. And then approximately 80 plus years of classroom experience aggregate of all the faculty. And we're all very committed to the education process and to the success of our students. So why earn your graduate degree? Well, there's something called KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities. And what we're here is to teach knowledge and skills such as analytic, organizational, interpersonal, and communication skills that give you the abilities that apply across jobs and organizations and industries to accelerate your career growth, advance or lateral into senior management and leadership, which increasingly requires advanced education, specialized knowledge, showing commitment to expertise and providing credibility, professional network, professors and classmates with diverse backgrounds in our network. And there's higher earnings potential. Now this data here comes from 2009, but it gives you kind of a flavor that those with a high school diploma and associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, and a JD or MD professional degree, what kind of earnings are average on that? And what we can see here is those with graduate educational degrees do on average earn a much higher annual salary over a lifetime than would if you only had a bachelor's or associate's or high school diploma. So why earn your MPA here at Sam Houston State University? Well, it's a professional and interdisciplinary degree. We combine backgrounds in political science, that's my background, organizational theory, research, economics, law, sociology, planning with emergency management and criminal justice. So you're getting a interdisciplinary approach because that is the nature of public administration. We prepare people to serve as managers, executives, and analysts. So we're focusing on how to solve complex and uncertain problems, how to do how organizations actually work in practice, and how to manage people in programs. There's a variety of job opportunities for graduates at the local, county, federal, state and federal, international level. My background is with the federal government, for example. I worked for the Department of Defense as a civilian in the US Air Force in acquisition procurement. I bring in my experiences, and each of us have varied experiences that are on faculty that we bring to our classroom. We also have public and nonprofit and private sector applications and backgrounds for the faculty. So our mission is to empower public and nonprofit professionals through a curriculum based on best practices, state-of-the-art theory, and evidence-based instructional design. So students that come into the program take core courses in administrative theory and history, research methods, organizational theory, public management, human resources, program evaluation, budgeting, and ethics. Now, for concentration courses, you have disaster politics, emergency management, decision-making, and community resilience for the emergency management concentration. But there are other course options and requirements, such as an internship, independent study, and comprehensive examinations. Most of our students are in a profession, but we have had students, for example, that are changing professions, or an internship would be very appropriate, or even going into a different field in public administration. So you're looking at a degree completion time of approximately 2 calendar years. It could be 6 academic semesters, depending on how many courses you take each semester. Some students come in and will take 2 per semester. Others might want to do 1. It depends on the student, their situation with work, family, and the like. So MPA students and alumni. Well, our students tend to be in their 20s and late 30s, although we've had many who are much older. They all have a commitment to public service. It's one of the attractions of the MPA degree program. They often have 10 plus years of professional experience, but as we said, we've had some with fewer, some with more. Often they want to promote or do a lateral promotion professionally, but they understand the importance of higher education. Now, our alumni are expanding. They should be 170 now. I thought I had updated that. That should say 170 alumni currently in our that have graduated from our program. They all value, from our surveys, we can tell they value their MPA educational experience. They're employed throughout Texas and the region, but we've had students from California, from New England, all over the place. They are city managers. One of my first students when I came to SAM was in the local community as a equivalent of city manager. And he was one of our graduates of our program. Emergency managers, planners, law enforcement. We have a lot of law enforcement, budget analysts, fire chiefs, human resource managers. We've had people from the State Department and Department of Defense. So you can see it's a wide variety of backgrounds of our students and alumni. We wanted to cover some common applicant questions here. First of all, what to expect. Higher education is very conceptual. And as you can see here, this is Bloom's taxonomy, which looks at a cognitive domain, where it goes from the bottom there where it says remembering to understanding to applying to analyzing to evaluating and creating. And what we see here is an undergraduate degree focuses on remembering, understanding, and applying, but graduate degrees pick up the higher order here. They still We still do things that require remembering and understanding and applying, but we get into analyzing, evaluating, and even creating, using the information to create something new. And so this is something to expect, is that when you come into a graduate program, it is getting to these higher order learnings. It's not just simply another bachelor's degree program. It's building on a bachelor's degree program that you've probably already been through. So some nuts and bolts here would be family support. And we can't stress enough the importance to make sure that your family supports your decision to return to school. My personal story is when I went into my doctoral program, I had just met my wife. We got married the next year, and it was she was very supportive of me. And without her, I couldn't have done it. And it's something to make sure that you have that kind of support. Also, you have different degree types of associates, bachelor's, concentration. There's certificate, master's, and doctoral. This being a master's program, we don't go in as much as you would in a doctoral program, but much more than you would in a bachelor's degree. Your program choice. Well, when you take a graduate degree program, it could be in sociology, our degree, public administration, political science, homeland security, and the like. And so you're looking at something you want to get out of that program. Check the reputation of whatever degree you look at, and you can see the database of post-secondary institutions and programs. Make sure the school is accredited, as Sam Houston State University is. It's an excellent university. Make sure you have the cost down for tuition, books, any kind of technology, fees, and whatever. Again, student body composed of peers and non-peers. Is this an executive or professional program? You want to look at that. And also method of delivery. Some programs are face-to-face. When I got my MPA degree, it was in the mid-1980s and everything was face-to-face. And I, like many of you, I was working and going to school, and I know what that's like. Our program is online. And other programs are a hybrid where you do some online, but you do some in person. So you want to make sure and check out what that program is about. Also the completion time, because it could be from 1 to 5 years, depending on the program and the course load. And one important thing is responsiveness. Do faculty answer student email or take student phone calls? And that's one thing we pride ourselves on, is our responsiveness to our students. Now, how to be successful? Time management is the key. Needing to carve out time to complete requirements. And sometimes that is going to be a late night thing. I know I spent many a late night when I was working and going to school and typing papers. Of course, in my day, it was a typewriter, not a computer. But nevertheless, it is a very time-consuming kind of thing. But I would say it's worth it. I have never regretted what I went through. Your motivation and purpose. Your goal should be to become a lifelong learner, and that's what we're here to help you with. Reading, you got to read efficiently and effectively and keep reading logs. Some courses are going to require much more reading. Some will require just more reading, but what you will find in any graduate program is there is a lot of reading to be done. Writing, learn how to organize and communicate arguments, how to structure a paper, and we're all writers. That's what we do in higher ed. Relationships, you're going to meet students and faculty, potential for new and lifelong relationships. And keep everything. When you come into a course, whatever school you go to, you might need those books later for when you either take exams or do papers. You want to keep those books. There may be some that the professor lets you know you wouldn't need to keep, but it's something to keep in mind. Grit and resilience. Graduate school is hard. Learning requires you to push your envelope. And be sure to ask for help. We're here to help you, not to harm you, not to flunk you. Be sure to reach out if you need assistance. We can't always give you what you want, but we're here to help you and we want you to succeed. Keep your eye on the prize. You're not the first to attend graduate school. Many others have graduated and you can do so as well. So now we go to question and answer time. Is there anybody has any questions you'd like to ask of any of us about our program or anything else that is related to the subject here? Please feel free to ask.
if you guys don't have any questions, I can explain a few things in addition to what
Please
Dr.
do.
Vidic said. And
Please
Dr. Vidic,
do.
thank you very much for your presentation. Some of you might think, like, what is the application process like and what are the admission requirements? The application process is quite straightforward. You apply through applytexas.com website, and the admission requirements are also very clear. You have to submit your resume or CV, your personal statement, your transcripts, and a writing sample, and the contact information of your references. And depending on circumstances, you might want to add few additional documents as well. So it's not complicated, it's very straightforward. And you can complete the program as a full-time student or part-time student. You can take one course per semester, 2 courses per semester, or 3 courses per semester, depending on how flexible you are, how much time you can dedicate to the program. You don't need to get a GRE score to apply to the program. You can apply without a GRE score, but you have your GPA, undergraduate GPA has to be above a certain level. And all these information is provided on our program website. You can find all the details there. And if you'd like to visit us on campus, you are more than welcome to do that. We always have students or prospective students coming up on campus, visiting us, talking to us.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I had a couple of students who came on campus, visited us. We had lunch together. We talked. I gave them a campus tour, introduced them to the faculty, and you can do that as well if you have time and if you have the ability to come on campus. A few other things that I can mention is that if you are a firefighter or a law enforcement, you can take advantage of the state tuition waiver program. That means you don't have to pay any tuition if you're qualified, but you still have to pay the university's fees. The fee structure is also available on the program website. And also we have some scholarship opportunities. When you apply to the program and you're admitted, there are different scholarship opportunities offered by different offices and colleges in our university. So you can apply to those and take advantage of them as well. Usually they grant you about $500 to $1,000 in each application. So you can take advantage of them, and you can use that money for your textbooks or for other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of other things that I can cover, but I'd just like to hear your questions. Oh, Dr. Haas, you raise your hand.
Yeah.
Well, I like to thank you very much, Fatih. Thank you, Rob, and welcome everybody. If there are no questions, I'd just like to welcome Sam, actually, who's one of our alum, and
yes,
invite him to take the floor. And maybe he has some things he would like to share as well. But first, let's see if there's any questions.
Okay, well, there's one question. GRE, GMAT not required.
Yeah, Roy, that's correct. It's not required. What we encourage you is put as much detail in your resume and your personal statement as you can. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you're interested in doing professionally and how an MPA can get you there. Those are the types of things that we're looking for on your personal statement. We want to make sure that our program is a match for your needs and your career choices, so to speak.
Fatih, how many students are in the program currently?
As of this semester, at the beginning of the semester, we had 64 students and currently admitted or enrolled in the program. 57 of them were in classes. 7 of them were not in class. They were taking a break for different reasons. So this is also an opportunity. If you have something going on in your life, you may want to take a semester off if you need to. So we have, in total, we have 64 students in the program right now.
Great. Well, since we have a few minutes here, again, if anybody has a question, please feel free to ask and we will respond. Here's what I'd like to do. Dr. Demiraz, Dr. Wang, Dr. Hess, and Dr. Lim, I'm going to ask you to give a 30-second or less overview of what to expect in your classes. Fatih, what should students expect?
One thing the students can expect is a program or courses tailored to their needs. So we are proud of our classroom sizes. We are a relatively small program. When I did my MPA degree, I had 35 classmates in my classes. We have usually 10 to 12 students in our classes. That gives us a lot of flexibility to work with our students very closely. So when the students come to our classes, they get attention, and we are happy to work with our students' needs. Sometimes, we know that most of our students are first responders, they are firefighters, they are law enforcement, and when something happens, a hurricane or flood or something else, we know that they will be called on duty. And in those cases, we are happy to work with them and give them extensions on deadlines and things like that. So we have that flexibility to work with our students' needs.
Dr. Wang?
Hi, sure. Yeah, I teach emergency management and decision making. And what I try to do within my course is I try to encourage students to apply their own professional experience and observations with the theories we covered in the classroom. Because, like, for example, decision making, everyone have a really different experience in their professional and career or individual personal life, that they can find actually somehow the theory we cover actually help them to explain why or what happened, why they come up with a certain decision, and or even a challenge in their organization. So I try to accommodate students a wide range of professional backgrounds so they can all learn something and use that theories or material we cover in a classroom to bring back to their own professional career or their decision-making process. So what I'm thinking is we encourage everyone to just be open-minded and see how they can actually learn from each other and also learn from the theories and eventually improve their own future career decision-making process.
Very good. Dr. Hass?
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I'd like to echo that, actually. As you pointed out in your presentation earlier, we're pushing up at graduate school to higher levels of understanding and higher levels of learning. So what we're expecting you to do, particularly in my classes, for example, my class on disaster resilience or global disaster politics, is we're looking for you to learn how to formulate answers. There's answers to complicated questions. We deal with complicated questions all the time. But when we say formulate answers, you have to recognize that there are oftentimes no right answer to many of the questions that we experience in life, but some answers are definitely better than others. So what do we mean by that? So ultimately, our goal is to get you as a student to become a lifelong learner, to try to figure out how to move from stating your own personal opinion to making more constructive arguments that are anchored in knowledge about a particular area. So in terms of expectations, particularly in my upper level classes, my reading seminars, we're going to ask you to read a lot. In undergraduate, you might have read maybe a 20-page chapter. At graduate school, you're probably going to be asked to do that, in some cases substantially more, which means you're going to have to learn how to read more effectively and more efficiently. We're also going to convey to you how to organize your thoughts and how to present an argument. And one of the key points about that is how to use the materials that you're presented to in class. So if we have a series of readings on resilience, what do these readings mean? How do they relate to each other? How can you use them to answer a particular question that's posed to you? So we're trying to push you to the higher level thinking. So that's a good summary.
Very good. Dr. Lim?
So the details about the program overview have already been established and explained by Dr. House. Thanks so much for the detailed explanations. Going into specific courses that I'm teaching currently is that I'm actually teaching research methods and public budgeting and finance courses, which is going to be probably a new challenges that you might have not been exposed when you were in the undergraduate level. So what we're trying to do in terms of, those courses is especially, to give you some kind of foundational and basic understanding about, what research, methods are and how research is conducted. All right. So, and then probably you're going to get some more practical knowledge and understanding about how financial management is conducted in your professions, in your agencies, not so much as of the theoretical refinement, but you are going to get some kind of practical knowledge about it. But the thing is, that more than 80% of students taking these two challenging courses are going to end up with receiving an A, which means that our purpose of providing these challenging courses is not to judge or evaluate, but it's actually to promote you to get that outcomes and get the success, and also as well as getting the foundational and necessary information and knowledge that you need to keep using in terms of developing your career. So I think that's probably the information that I would like to provide. And well, additionally, I guess probably Dr. Demers is going to provide more information about our new initiative in terms of adding some kind of new further courses in terms of meeting and responding to the current and prospective MPA students. So we are also planning to provide some more specific courses such as nonprofit management and emergency management focused on complex theories or something. So if you have some more interest in that, you can also feel free to contact us about that specifics.
Very good. I'll just mention mine. Then, Sam, I want to go to you and right after I'm done here. So stand by. For me, I connect theory to practice. I want my students to examine foundational ideas that they've never looked at before, and then how that applies to the workplace. Theory and practice. It's how I was mentored when I was in an MPA program, in my doctoral program, and working out in the field. I found it is very important. So that's one thing to expect from me, is I'm always going down to foundational ideas and saying, now, how does this work in the real world? And so I look at things like public administration theory, organizational theory. I also, a lot of us here get into complexity theory. I do some of that as well, institutional theory. And then how does that apply to the workplace? Because we're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to tell you how to think. You can disagree with a professor and still get a good grade, because like Tom said, there's often not a right answer. Like in my ethics course, I tell students there are no right answers, but there are wrong answers. A wrong answer would be factually incorrect. But people often write very good papers that I might disagree with, but I go, that is an excellent paper. They laid it out well. And that's just something we do as professors. We want to see people reach their own conclusions and show that they've mastered the material. Well, let me turn it over. Sam, what would you say about our program?
Hello, good evening. Thanks for having me today. So I'm a graduate of the Sam Houston MPA program. I graduated in 2019. I would say that the program has been very beneficial to me. And all of the points that the professors have discussed tonight are all 100%. And with that, you get a better, it's more of a critical thinking of how your organization operates. It's more of the big picture. And so going through the program, like Dr. Biddick had mentioned in the slideshow, yes, there is some time commitment. You need to make sure that it's the right time for you. You're going to have to do some time management. The benefits of it, though, once you finish it, is you've accomplished something, and you like I mentioned before, and I hate to kind of keep repeating this, but you do kind of see the big picture of your organization. My personal goal is to move on and become a city manager somewhere. So I feel like the content of the program has prepared me for that. One of the things I did also like about the program is it's not only concentrated on just city government, but federal government as well, and nonprofits. So you get a taste of a little bit of everything. And I feel that that's good to be well-rounded in that. I will say one of the offset impacts of an MPA program, they mentioned a lot of reading, a lot of writing. My writing skills did enhance. And just to tell you something that my wife enjoys this when I tell folks about this. Before I started an MPA program, I wasn't much of a reader. So, going through the program, you read a lot. And I guess an impact from that is now I'm an avid reader. I always have to have a book. So in between semesters, as I was going through the program, I felt like there was something I needed to be reading. And so it stuck with me. So I have a small library of books, and my wife just really thinks that's just a great thing. So I'm always reading. So picking up a book here and there. So that's one of the impacts for me. I hope that answered your questions there.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, that is absolutely true about the reading part. Sam, you may remember in every one of my classes, I introduced with the CATS article. And it's an article that goes into the 3 skills of an executive that is needed. You need technical skills, people skills, and conceptual skills. And I stress that over and over because it's like you just said, seeing the big picture of your organization. That's the conceptual part, and is really the reason we're here. Technical skills vary from job to job. People skills are great. We talk about them, but we practice them out on the workplace, don't we? Yeah. Very good. You were an excellent student. I'm really glad to see you moving on. That's great. Any other statements from our faculty or anybody else? Any questions? Let's see. We have a question here. My bachelor's was in safety management, and I have 20 years of emergency management. In your opinion, would an MPA be complementary for someone who works for the federal government? 2 things. Federal government, yes, I used to work for the federal government. Emergency management, I'd like to turn it over to our emergency management personnel. That'd be Dr. Demiraz, Dr. Wang, and Dr. Haas. How would you answer Roy's question here?
Well, the answer is very simple. It's yes, because we have a concentration in emergency management. Dr. Haas and Dr. Wang are teaching our emergency management courses mostly. I also teach a course that is a relatively new course, and it's about managing complex policy problems. It's not strictly emergency management, but it covers a lot of ground in emergency management, and it also applies to different subjects as well. So we have we not only teach emergency management courses, we also do research on emergency management. So I would say yes, an MPA degree, and specifically our MPA program would be a great education for you. If you are pursuing a career in emergency management. Doesn't matter whether it's at the federal level or state level or at the local level. And we have students from all levels of government. Even we have students from other countries as well.
Dr. Wang?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely yes. One thing I will say is because our I teach emergency management, our students coming from all kind of background, that they could be a first responder at local level. And I also have students from the state or occasionally have a federal level employees. But the thing is, we are not really teaching for a specific type of public employee. But in general, for example, we talk about how government agencies across jurisdictions work together as a collective effort, and also even coordinate work with nonprofit and private sectors organizations. So the point is not who you actually work with, is how you work with other people across organizational boundaries. So we'll try to cover this type of topic from more organizational theory perspective. So you can see that this type of perspective, it doesn't matter where you work, it's about the principles and the logic and the challenges for people to work across boundaries. This is one of examples. So I want to share that, and we also bring a case analysis that show these type of challenges as well. So I will be really happy to have you in a classroom, and then we all be able to share from, learn from each other's experience, and also make a lot of friends, and to learn how each other work in their own profession and how they inspire us to inform our own decision-making process as well.
Great. Dr. Hass?
Yeah, I would just like to echo what has already been said, and perhaps just give you a little story. I think, Roy, your background is excellent, both in safety management, but also the fact that you work for OSHA now. The story I'd like to share with you is several months ago, in a previous life when I was the director of the program, I received a phone call from somebody who worked for the EPA in the state of New Jersey. And they actually had a PhD in, it's not, what is it? Something related to the environment, ecology, that's the word I was looking for. And they couldn't get promoted because they didn't have the right credentials. So what happened, ironically, is somebody with a more advanced degree had to come back to get an MPA in order to get promoted within their particular line of work. So that's really what we're seeing now. Whether you're talking at the local level, the state level, or the federal level, credentialing is really key. And the MPA will open up quite a few doors for you. If you want to stay along the same lines that you're going through now, it would probably help. But also if you wanted to lateral and shift in a different direction.
Very good. Dr. Lim and I are not in emergency management, but we also have backgrounds that deal with similar kinds of things. My background in the Department of Defense, Dr. Lim, if you don't mind me sharing, you were in the military. So we have that kind of background as well. And again, for the federal government, definitely. When I went through an MPA program, most of the students were at state and local level because that's where most of the government jobs are. And I think it's still that way. But I found my MPA degree very appropriate for the federal government. And so I would say yes as well. Okay, let's see. Sam, you mentioned that the TCMA is really promoting city manager candidates with an MPA, correct? What is the TCMA?
TCMA is the Texas City Managers Association.
Oh, of course, yes.
Affiliate of the ICMA, and I've been sitting on the committee with TCMA, and the push out there for Texas City managers is to push candidates to have MPAs along with the experience. So if you're looking that route, that's another reason to go back and get that MPA.
Very good. And Roy, you notice you made a comment there about having a goal to teach at the undergraduate level. We've had students in our program who have had similar goals and have moved on. I know I wrote a letter of recommendation for one who went to an organizational leadership doctorate up at, I think it was the University of Dallas, if I remember. So we've had people who have similar goals as you do in our program. Well, very good. If there's no other questions or comments, Fatih, do you think this would be a good time to sign off, or do you have anything else you'd like to cover?
I think we covered a lot of ground, and if you guys have any questions, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer them now. If not, you can always reach me out. My email is on the program website, but I can say it here. If it's fxd009@shsu.edu. F as a Frank, XD, D as a David, 009@shsu.edu. And you can reach me out, or you can call my office, and I'll try to answer your questions as much as I can. And also check out our program website. We have a page for frequently asked questions. We try to cover a lot of questions that are asked by prospective students. And we can also find lots of useful information on that page as well.
Yes, that's down at the bottom right corner, www.shsu.edu/MPA. In case you don't remember some of our long email addresses, this would be helpful.
Yes, yeah, our program website is very simple. That's shsu.edu/MPA.
There you go.
And all the program information is available on our program website.
Well, we hope we've answered any questions you have. We certainly welcome your applications and just wish you all the best. So time to sign off, I guess.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bedick, for your presentation.
Good.
And thank you very much, Sam, for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Bye-bye.